All right, so we're going to start here. Our goal number 3 is that we are going to take an improper fraction times a whole number. So write down goal 3, improper fraction times a whole number. Pause the video and then write this down. All right, let's go to goal 3, improper fraction times a whole number. Okay, this is going to be very, very similar to what we've done in the past. Anytime you have a whole number, like the 7, secretly Harry Potter style, there's a 1 in the denominator. So the reason we call this improper, an improper fraction is when there is a larger numerator than the denominator. 8 is larger than 5. So an improper fraction is when the top part of the fraction is larger. That number is larger than the bottom part of the fraction. Call that improper. Everything else stays the same. We multiply straight across. 7 times 8 is 56 over 5. 56 over 5. Now we will discuss in videos in the future, in a few minutes from now, how we will simplify that. So we will come back to that idea here in a little bit. But for right now, if you have 56 over 5, you are golden. All right, next one. We have 3 times 4 halves. Why don't you write this down, try it, and then unpause the video. All right, we're going to have 3 over 1. We're going to multiply straight across. 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times 1 is 2. This one is much easier to simplify. Remember, like Mr. B said, anytime we have a fraction, we're really dividing. So it's really 12 divided by 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6 whole. 6 whole. So if you got 12 over 2, you're golden. If you simplified that to 6, that's even better. All right, you try. Pause the video, write it down and try, and then unpause it to watch for the solution. All right, you need to put a 1 underneath your 10, multiply straight across. We get 90 over 3. Remember that you can simplify this in another video. If you got an answer of 30, awesome. If you didn't, don't worry about it. We will discuss that in a little bit. All right, so let's go back to our goals, which are at the top here. Goal 3 was an improper fraction times a whole number. Remember, when you have a whole number, you're just placing a 1 underneath your whole number and timesing it by the fraction. So if you understand that, you can star that goal. All right, let's write down goal 4, improper fraction times a proper fraction. So pause the video and write improper fraction times a proper fraction. And we'll go to goal 4. Goal 4. This is improper because the number 5, which is in the numerator, is larger than the denominator, which is 2. So this fraction right here is improper, whereas this one is proper because the number in the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Really, that doesn't change anything for us. The process is still the same. It's still multiplying straight across. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 8 is 16. If you want to practice saying, hey, wait a second, I recognize that 10 and 16 are even numbers, we can divide both the numerator and denominator by 2. Remember, it has to be the same number. We get 5 over 8, which is simplified. So if you got 10 over 16, you have mastered multiplying fractions. If you got 5/8, you've mastered simplifying fractions, which is awesome. All right, why don't you try? Pause the video and you try. All right, 10 times 3 multiplying straight across is 30. 9 times 20 is 180. Now, I'll be honest with you. If I see two numbers that end in 0, so like the numerator ends in 0 and the denominator ends in 0, I'm going to divide by 10 or a factor of 10. When you divide by 10, you're really just taking away the 0. So I get 3 over 18. Now, if I want to simplify that again, I totally can. I can divide this by 3 and 18 by 3 and get 1/6. Now, let's say that you're not sure about how to simplify fractions. I will be there in a few days. I can help you. As long as you get the blue answer, that's the goal for today. All right, let's try this one. Once you multiply it straight across, you get 45 over 45. Yes, you heard that right. 45 over 45, or 1 whole. Let me show you how you maybe could have predicted that as 1 whole. All right, see this 5 and this 15? 5 goes into 15, and 5 also goes into 5. So I can actually simplify before I multiply. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Ooh, nice so far. That is going to be nice. Now you can kind of start to see that 3 times 3 would be 9, and 1 times 9 would be 9. So you can kind of see that it's already simplifying to one whole. But if you didn't catch that, you could also say, wait a second, doesn't 3 go into 3 and 3 goes into 9? Absolutely it does. This right here is going to be one whole. This right here is going to be 3. If you multiply straight across, 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 3 is 3 again. And you still get one whole. So as long as you understand that 45 over 45 is your first answer, and you can simplify that to 1, awesome. If you got 45 over 45 and you didn't realize that that was one whole right away, that's okay. We will work on that. So let's go back to goal 4, which is back in your list somewhere right here. If you understand how to multiply an improper fraction times a proper fraction, you can start that off. All right, last one for this video. Write down goal 5, which is improper fraction times improper fraction. Unpause the video when you're ready to go. All right, improper fraction times improper fraction. All that means is that the number in the numerator is larger or bigger than the number in the denominator. But guess what? The process is still the same. We still multiply straight across. Now, if you want to do some simplifying first, it helps. I'll show you how to do it without, and then I'll show you with the simplifying. So if you just multiply straight across, you're going to get 36 over 16. And you can say, you know what? I know that the number 4 goes into 36 and 16. And when you divide that, you get 9 over 4. Okay, which we will work on in the next video, how to simplify that. If you want to do it a different way, what you can say is, you know what, 4 over 8. 4 goes into 4, and 4 goes into 8. So if you'd like to simplify it ahead of time, absolutely you can. If you don't want to, that's okay. You can go straight to this answer right here. There's nothing wrong with that. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. You can multiply straight across and get 9 over 4 that way as well. And we will talk about how to make these into mixed numbers. Okay. All right, you try 6/5 times 2 over 1. All right, we're going to multiply straight across. We get 12 over 5. And in the next video, we'll discuss this, but just a little reminder, you're going to make it into a mixed number. 5 goes into 12 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10. You're going to have 2/5 left over. Okay, and we'll discuss that again in the next video. So I think this is the last one of this kind. What I would suggest is, when you see 15 over 15, I would immediately simplify that by dividing by 15. That is going to make your life so much easier. 15 divided by 15 is 1. 15 divided by 15 is 1 again. You get 30 over 10, which we know 30 divided by 10 is 3. Now remember, when you want to simplify using this strategy, you have to simplify by dividing one number in the numerator and that same number in the denominator. You can't go side to side. It has to be one up top and one down below.